にゃやめて
にゃにゃ
やめて
にゃ
What was I doing? Hi everybody!
Hello
Hello!
Hello
聞こえる皆さん Welcome! Hi!
Welcome.
This is Tokyo Hacker Girls. I am your DJ Cyan.
Wait, if you're the DJ, what am I?
What are you?
I'm MC Lena.
Oh, okay. You're MC Lena. So we should just start every stream like this. Yes, we are the Linux VTuber. Maybe I'm less of a Linux VTuber. Lena is a very much Linux VTuber. She does Fedora. I battle with Arch. Hi. Welcome, MC Sensei. Welcome, Cyan. Welcome, Fluff ML. Welcome, Laura. Welcome, Cantonia. Welcome, Trisk. Yes, it's the Linux. We're talking about the Linux. Yes, we want to make a class about it. Although the details is in the discussion of the stream. That's why we want to have a stream to know what y'all want and what we can offer. Welcome, Doc. Hello. Welcome, Misha. Welcome, Mario. Welcome, Shadow Next. Welcome, Wolf Boy. Welcome, Gustav. Welcome, Kishuda. Yo, you like the short? We like it too. I want to do more parody. EXE. We can do it like EXE. MSI. Download and download. Lion, welcome. Penguin, welcome. Hello, everybody. We just saw you like a few hours ago. I was doing a drawing stream, still drawing. So for this class, I'm gonna be the student, cause I.
Wait, why do I have boobs?
Oh, I added it. Do you hate it?
Added boobs.
Hey, I feel like if you're
It makes me look more like a teacher.
Yeah, if you're
I see,
like Hoshino Hakase-sama, you should have some authenticity. Yes.
It makes me look more respectable.
Yeah, it makes me look more younger than my age. Okay, so what are we talking about? This is pretty much a chat stream. We're gonna let's talk about how we're gonna do the class, how many series is gonna be it. We were talking about something like Linux 101. You have to like the UI because I did it. I took a really good example template and then just throw anime girls on it and it looks perfection. We said it's gonna be Linux 101, but I don't think Lena is gonna teach anything 101, so it might be like 101.
What?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah. Isn't this looks programming binary 101, but not 101. 10101.
That's 21.
21?
Yeah.
So yes, Linux 21.
Linux 21.
We don't know yet. Let's we have to hear about Lina's idea and what everybody wants to learn from her. I'm just gonna be a good student that makes PowerPoint for the teacher, like that kind of student that grades other students' homework.
TA?
No, in China, it's a good student's work. I have graded other people's paper. You don't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
You basically become TA if you're a good student because TAs are paid, and then there's no such thing as paid TA in China.
So
I'm just messing with you, anyways.
Anyways.
I haven't made many slides. This is gonna be our hello. This is who. Yeah. This is who. Hey, did I just do something? Who? What? This is our new model, by the way.
Why are you leaking our new models?
Because our head is not in there. I think it's okay.
It's not even the final version.
It's not.
You're leaking a rough draft.
I'm sorry. I love it too much. So listen now. So tell us your plan. What Alpine Linux? What do you want to teach?
No, we just talked about it.
Yes, just talk about everything.
Okay.
Hi.
Actually, that's kind of the first question.
First question.
No. Let's go back to...
Go back.
Focus, Cyan, focus.
I'm focusing. What do you mean?
No, like, okay, so we were talking about how Cyan gets really frustrated with Linux, right? A while back. You okay?
What? That was why?
Oh, that was part of it?
知らなかった Because I installed Arch on a stick? On USB stick?
No. I mean, yes, but also no.
Okay, I was frustrated. You claim, and?
No, we were talking about how the I think a lot of the way people learn these days is by like looking things up, and the problem with looking things up is that you learn individual things, but you don't get a big picture about how everything is connected together, right?
So we want the big picture of
Yeah.
Linux
So-
components as an OS.
So we want to start teaching Linux in a way that actually lets you connect different topics together from beginning to end. So that people can learn not just like how to do this in Linux, how to do that in Linux, how, you know, or how this particular tiny little thing works, but how everything is connected together. And so you have to break it down into parts. But those parts, we want them to all be connected, right? That is to say, we have a grand vision for what we're going to teach, and we have no idea how we're going to do it.
Grand vision, question mark. How to sync like Linux? I don't think Linux.
That makes sense. I see what Mario means there. That's like, yeah, like
how it works.
Yeah,
information flow somewhere to where.
Yeah.
You know what? I like it without boob for you, so I'm gonna
Turn off.
I'm gonna take it off. It's in my face too much. I'll enjoy it privately. はい、ごめんなさい。You continue.
I continue?
Yeah, you continue. What do you wanna teach us?
I don't know.
And how can I be a good student?
I want to say, give me a good student.
What? Well, the point is, I'm not gonna be too good of a student, so I learn from the class, right? And I represent average people, intelligence, hopefully not below average.
You just reminded me of something.
How? What are you doing?
Don't worry. But I was just curious about something.
Okay.
Right, yeah, that makes sense.
So when you talk about like components, do you want to be like, today we talk about bootloader, today we talk about
Yeah, so
security, today we talk about
I think okay, so we haven't decided what parts we're going to talk about yet, because that depends partially on you, because I want people who are watching to tell us what they are interested in. But I think part of the idea is that we want to not start teaching Linux like sort of from the top down, you know, like, oh, this is how you install a program on this particular distribution. It's like, what does it mean to install a program, right? What is actually happening? And like, why are programs managed that way? Things like that, right? So that you're not just learning, how to do XYZ, but why things are done that way and how it connects to other parts of the system. So, me being the kind of person that I am,
you are.
my my tendency is to do a sort of walkthrough from beginning to end of sort of how a Linux system boots and starts, because I feel like if you need to start somewhere, it's a little overwhelming if you start with a completely running system with a desktop and everything, and then it's like, well, here's how this little piece works, right? That makes sense if you are trying to learn Linux as a user, and you can definitely do that with distributions like, Fedora or Ubuntu that are, geared towards like being easy to use for users. But that's one way to learn, right? And I think there's already a lot of content around that way to learn, right? If you can find tons of like intro to Ubuntu, that kind of thing, videos, blogs, sites, whatever on the internet. I want to do the other way around. I want to show you how it works. And I think one important part of showing people how Linux works is that you need to sort of tell yourself that, like, this is not about learning how to, like, it wouldn't be teaching you, like, this is what you have to do in your life to use Linux, right? Rather, this is giving you the fundamentals and the information to have a deeper understanding of Linux, and so that then you can make a choice of how you want to do things. Or to put it more bluntly, if we are using a particular distro, that doesn't mean you should be using that distro. Rather, that means that that distro might be a better distro to experiment with and learn with, and then you can choose what to actually run in your, as a daily driver. So, I think that's a very important thing, because people get really caught up in, like, oh, you use Ubuntu, so, like, you're not really learning by using Ubuntu. But then people are like, well, you should use Arch and learn all this stuff. But, like, are you, is it worth using Arch? Like, is it, like, does it make sense to tell yourself, I'm going to do this the hard way so that I learn by doing things hard way?
Why are you repeating what I told you?
What?
That's what I said to you. The reason why I use Arch Quick, because I want to do it the hard way.
That's what everyone says. That's what everyone says. That's the problem.
And I kind of regret it a little bit. Just a
Yeah.
little.
Because it happens a lot, right?
Hey, I think we should do like an OS comparison at the end or something. Like what OS is for what?
I think we could give some guidelines, I think, yeah. But it's always going to be a little bit biased, because, like, we don't all have experience with every single distro, right? So I don't want to turn this into a distro war.
Oh yeah, that could happen. That could happen.
So rather, I think, for example, if you are, like, if you're a Windows user, for example, you could decide that you're going to learn how Linux works first, and then, try using it as an end user. Or you could already be using Linux to say Ubuntu as an end user, and then you want to learn how Linux works. And so there is, instead of saying you need to pick the distro that, like the one distro that you shall be using, maybe it makes sense to have, like, you should use this distro to learn, and you should use this distro to use as a daily driver, right? And for some people, those will be the same distro. For some people, it'll be completely different distros.
そうですね。
I myself have used... Actually, now I want to tell you what the Linux distros I used in my life.
You're gonna give that story?
I think I'm gonna give away how long I've been using Linux.
Are you sure you're not doxing yourself?
I mean, I don't think I'm doxing myself, but
Yeah, Fedora user.
mostly.
Yo, we should make like personality test and then be like, your personality suits Fedora.
Oh,
Your
God.
personality suits.
Like one of those online tests. Like,
So.
maybe we should do that.
We should do that. Okay, writing down. Linux OS personality test. Speak. What OS have you used before? If you wanna share.
So the first Linux distro that I ever ran was Mandrake Linux.
Mandrake?
Mm.
How do you spell it?
D-R-A-K-E.
Mandrake?
Mm.
What does it do? Is it?
It's dead.
It's dead.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Cinemasta. Why did you choose that?
I think I got the CD in a magazine or something like that.
CD in a mag? What kind of magazine were you reading?
What? And after that, I used SUSE Linux.
It's SUSE.
SUSE Linux.
It's SUSE, not SUSE.
Sorry, SUSE.
They have a song. No.
Linux.
I'm not correcting you. I'm just showing that I know that because people keep mentioning to me. How do you spell it?
Like uppercase S-E. Yeah, replace that. Uppercase S. Yeah, like that.
The SUSE Linux. The Among Us Linux. Oh god. Why did you switch? What happened?
I think I don't remember. Like I had Mandrake on a really old machine.
Really old machine?
Yeah, like a really, really old PC. And then I got a new PC and I wanted to like install something that like I think I saw some ads or something about SUSE. Like it was like a new version coming out. It looked really good. And so I honestly don't remember what the thought process was back then, but I ended up on that. And I was actually using it in like school and stuff.
School?
Like I convinced the teacher to let me install it on a school computer. And just
You install SUSE on school computers for what? For everybody? Katie?
no, kind of to learn. Like I convinced the teacher to let me use an old PC to like install it and do stuff.
Oh, not for everyone, just for yourself. Oh God. I love you already. Keep on going.
And then my hard drive crashed.
Okay.
No, I had it at home. And then my hard drive crashed, and I kind of lost all my data.
Oh no! You have 3 locations.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. And so I was thinking, because I've been learning more about Linux, and I remember when I was using SUSE, like I had like weird packages installed manually and stuff. It was like a mess.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to use a system that is more customizable. And I was gonna use Debian.
Gentoo.
I was gonna use Debian.
Okay.
And then a friend convinced me to use Gentoo.
Oh, it really is Gentoo.
So I used Gentoo.
Was it fun installing it back then?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna tell you a little secret.
This is a stream, baby.
Not a little secret, a little thing.
Okay, you sure? Okay, sure. Go ahead.
So I installed Gentoo 32-bit on that machine I had then.
Yeah.
And then I think it was like 1 or 2 years later, 64-bit machines were coming out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was asking my parents, I was like, can you get us like a new machine? Like, I really want this fancy new machine.
Yeah.
I don't know if people remember the iPhone 64. It was so awesome.
What?
I think I'm just like...
iPhone what?
iPhone 64. It was like the first 64-bit.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And it was so good. So I got one of those. And you have to reinstall to switch to 64-bit. So I reinstalled.
Yeah.
And I haven't not reinstalled that Gentoo install. Technically ever. It's still... I think I don't know if I still have the VM set up, but it's still technically installed on the VM on the machine I have now. I think I went for like 5 or 6 different machines that I kept moving it.
I mean, it's a baby. You have to carry it.
It's more than 10 years.
What's in it?
That was my main PC. That was like my main desktop for a long time.
Really? What kind of theme did you use?
Theme?
Yeah.
I don't know, Katie. What?
Like, was it pink before?
Oh, at some point, yeah. Like, actually, some of the oldest streams on my channel were on that machine. Yeah.
Sugoi.
And then I had used Debian a few times, not very much, but you can put Debian on the list. Never as a main machine, but I used it for servers a little bit, a couple times. And for experiments. Not much though. Most of my servers were Gentoo. And then I learned Arch.
Great. Was Arch like a kind of new compared to others?
Yeah, Arch is newer. And Arch is kind of like a Gentoo without compiling, right?
Yeah. Is that the selling point?
I don't know if that's the selling point, but that's kind of what it was to me, you know? And I was using Arch on like machines I cared less about. Like things like if I just needed a random install, I didn't want to deal with compiling and stuff. Like if I needed a PC for a home theater or a random laptop, that was not my main machine, that was Arch. So I had Arch on some like a laptop I was doing some work on. And the home theater PC actually still has Arch installed.
Oh,
we're not using it. We're not using it anymore, but it's upstairs.
What's the OS is running? I know it's Linux.
So which one?
The one that has all the anime.
Oh, that's Fedora.
So.
the NAS is Fedora.
Mm.
And then after that, I pretty much just switched to Fedora because I got tired of doing everything by hand. But also more recently, I've been using Alpine Linux for servers. Specifically for like containers, but also like full OS. It's like virtual machines. And I guess if you really want to list all the distros I've ever used, I know at some point I had Knoppix. I don't remember if I ever installed it anywhere, but I definitely used it from a CD. If you probably want to have another list for like things I have used, but not really.
That's you can slowly think about it.
This is more like distros I have touched in some way. Knoppix, Knoppix.
I'm not gonna write those down. You can write it down yourself.
KNO. No, you can write it.
KNO?
KNOPPIX. I think it's also dead, maybe? That was like a Lifeboot CD. I've used that. I've used, I'm pretty sure I've used Red Hat at least once. And CentOS. At least for like combining some things and testing on CentOS. Cent? Yeah. What else? I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I've used.
Have you used WSL?
Actually, no.
I have used a lot. Did you just hate Windows so much? You don't want to touch it?
I switched from like I was dual booting Windows and SUSE Linux, and when the hard drive crashed, I just decided to not install Windows again because I wasn't really using it anymore.
Okay.
So I haven't used Windows as a main PC in any way since I started using Gentoo. And WSL didn't exist back then, so. What else? There's gotta be at least one that I forgot that I didn't mention.
Nix, you installed Nix with me.
With you, yeah, but I've never actually used Nix. That was as a test. I've never actually used NixOS for anything. System Rescue CD if you want to put it in separately.
What?
System Rescue CD.
System Rescue?
Yeah, System Rescue CD. Yeah.
What is that?
It's just like a rescue distro you put on a USB stick.
Oh?
You know, a CD back when there was CDs instead of USB sticks. And it used to be based on Gentoo, and then they switched to Arch. So the current one is Arch-based.
So cool.
I've used that a lot, but it's mostly just a, you know, pre-made rescue system. Anything else I've used? There's probably something I forgot.
Unix?
I'm not counting non-Linux stuff. I mean, you could put macOS there, but... I should look at a distro list.
Yeah, I don't think this is the center of our conversation today.
I'm just curious.
We don't have to be.
I've used Ubuntu. Put Ubuntu on there, of course. I've definitely used Ubuntu. And Kubuntu.
What's Kubuntu?
Like the KDE version.
Cool.
Ubuntu? Yeah, just like that. And also Xubuntu, I think, which is the XFCE version. Yeah, if you count the Steam Deck, SteamOS. Yeah, Ubuntu X Ubuntu. You can put that one there.
Mint OS?
Oh yeah, I've used Linux Mint, yeah. Linux Mint.
Just LS like all the Linux distro and you have touched it and used it somehow in your life.
Just Linux Mint.
I ran out of slides for you, baby.
It's okay, Linux Mint. Just put it on there.
I will secretly delete some of it.
No. I ran like a workshop on Linux Mint.
You do?
Like I made Linux Mint like netboot, and I had like 30 PCs on netbooting Linux Mint over NFS.
Now I wonder what I put for me. 'Cause by the way, I think this is the designer of the slide. I'm not very sure, but this is a beautiful slide. I like the color. By the way, my name is Hoshino Cyan. Is my name for Hoshio or Hoshio Cyan? I don't even know.
It's complicated. Oh yeah, there was Yellow Dog Linux, because that was the one that was installed on like the PS3, like the other OS thing they had. I had that once, and that's like Fedora based, but I don't know if you want to count that. There was also like a PS2 Linux that I tried once. I don't even remember what distro that was based on. Yeah, I think those are the important ones. I'm looking through the you could count Chrome OS, I guess, if you I don't know if that counts. And I guess Android is technically.
I don't have space for you.
I guess Android is technically an Linux distro. But yeah, that's just getting into really minor stuff. I think in practice, that's pretty much everything. Oh yeah, DDWRT. If you count the router stuff, DDWRT and Liddy and OpenWRT and all those things. And yeah, okay. Oh yeah, there was. If you count all the embedded stuff, there was also, some stuff that ran on like PDAs. I forgot the names. Like before smartphones existed.
Hate machines.
PDAs. And there was stuff on those. Yeah, like I forgot what it was called.
Was that born?
Yeah. Anyway, I've used a lot of Linux distros, but the main ones are those on the left, and I think sort of what I realize is that like you need to decide if you want to spend time sort of doing things the hard way for the sake of learning, or if you want to have something user friendly. And I think if you want to have something user friendly as your main system, I think that's actually what many people should do. And then I think what makes sense is to have a separate system or a container or a VM or, many ways of doing it that you use to learn, right? So, Qtopia, yeah, that was... But Qtopia was not the distro. Qtopia is the environment. Yeah, I have one of those sharps, a different one somewhere. But there was a name for the actual distro that was used open on them. That was not the stock OS. And I forgot what it was called. Open Embedded and then something else. Yeah, one was Open Embedded. And then there was like a different one. Anyway.
Moving on?
Yeah. So I think what I was thinking for this course is that I don't know if we want to call it a course, maybe a series of videos, right? Is that of all of these distros that we have today, one of my ideas was that we could use an old distro, because the problem with starting with something like Fedora or Ubuntu is that everything is too complicated. If you look at Linux today versus Linux like 20 years ago, everything is so much more complicated that it's almost impossible for... It is impossible for a single person to learn everything. And it can get very frustrating if you try to learn how stuff works, because every question leads to another question, and it's so much stuff to learn to really understand some part of a complete Linux distro like Ubuntu or Fedora that you feel like you never really get everything, right? So one idea I had was that maybe we should use an older system like this, literally get like a retro, Mandrake or something. And that could be educational to look at. I actually tried installing Mandrake on a emulator. I was doing that the past couple of days. And it's kind of annoying because nothing really works. Like the internet doesn't really work properly. And still has a lot of magic stuff. Like even back then you had things like, a lot of graphical setup utilities and things that are kind of hard to understand. So I think maybe that's not the best idea. And so I thought again, and I was thinking, well, how if I want to teach people how Linux works without all the, everything that's so complicated, what's the most reasonable way of starting, right? And I thought of like embedded distros, or maybe doing your own distro kind of thing, or something weird like that, or playing around with BusyBox. And then I realized, well, I recently started using a distro like this. It's called Alpine. So I think that if we're going to be teaching Linux to people from the ground up, but without telling people, oh, you have to compile Linux from scratch or something, right? Which isn't actually useful. I think the best bet is actually Alpine these days. Hello?
Hi.
Are you?
I'm listening.
Are you sure you're here?
You just told me before you sleep last night. So you want to use Alpine? I heard that. But like, what's your target audience? Do they need to know how much? Do they need to know about computers?
My target audience is someone who has. I assume you're already a, habitual computer user. I assume at least, no matter what OS you use, like you know how to install software, like you know what a file is, right? Like,
so my grandma qualifies.
And well, not all grandmas know what a file is. So, but also that you have an interest in computer science or computers in general, or like you're not. I think this is targeted towards people who are learning because they are curious, not people who are like trying to pass a course or a test or something, right?
そうですね。
So my thought was that Alpine is a good platform. The reason for that is that if you've never used Alpine is probably the most bare bones and simplest Linux distro you can get today that is actually useful. Like it's I think the easiest way to understand it is that like if you boot an Alpine system and you type PS, you get like 5 things.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It comes with nothing, but it's like Arch in that you can just install packages and it just works. And it has sort of a philosophy of being simple, which is kind of the point, all right? It also doesn't use systemd. It uses OpenRC, which is a little bit easier to understand, and a lot. This is not a startup system framework. I like systemd. Systemd is great, but I'm not sure if systemd is the best idea to teach people. Right?
Are you gonna teach them what systemd is? Because I am not very sure. I know what it is, but
right. I would. I mean,
are we gonna go through those definitions? Like, it's anyone that knows how to use a computer.
Yes, so we would...
is capable of understanding this class?
Okay. Let me roll back a little bit. So I'm having this conversation now with people in the chat too.
Yeah.
Because I expect some people here already know a bunch of stuff about Linux.
And so I assume they will be your audience, people that knows more than me.
I know some people... No, what I mean is that some people who already know what these things are probably have an opinion, right? And I want to get that opinion. But that doesn't mean that I expect you or everyone else or people who would be the audience of this class to know these things yet, because we for the class we would go into it, right?
I have an idea.
Yeah.
I think I can like preview some of the things, and then like you can ask me to explain some concept, like what is a systemd, and we have a slide of definition so we know what it is, and then you just go on with your creative process. I can help with explaining concepts.
My idea is that as we go through whatever it is we're teaching, we would mention at least like what the concept is and what the alternatives are. So, for the distro, we would talk about different distros. For the init system, we would talk about the different init systems. And so the idea is that we would teach OpenRC and Alpine as the focus, because that's, the course can't cover everything, right? We can't do a course on every single part of Linux. That would be an infinite number of videos. But there's tons of information about System D out there. If you want to learn about System D, you can just look it up. So my goal is not to teach you how a complete Fedora level modern Linux system works, because that would be impractical. My goal is to be able to sort of build the smallest Linux system that can be understood by one person. Build off of that so you have a complete sort of, not a complete understanding, but a complete chain of understanding, right? From A to B, from beginning to end. You know what all the parts are, you know what they do, you know how they work roughly, and you understand the whole so you can get a feeling of, oh, I understand how all of this works. And the parts I don't understand, I can look up.
So a good basis for anyone to learn anything else and know how things tie together.
Yes, and so for example, if I teach, well, this is how OpenRC works in Alpine, and by the way, most distros use a different thing called Systemd, and you can then Google that and look it up, right? But by knowing how something simpler works, like OpenRC, you build the knowledge of like, well, what is this component called an init system? What does it do, right? What it is supposed to do? And then you can sort of upgrade your knowledge to a more complicated but more capable version. And you can do that on your own time, right? Because you can choose to learn about Systemd or not choose to learn about Systemd. But if you're running Fedora, you don't necessarily need to know about Systemd from day one. But you can choose when to learn that, right? If you have this baseline where you can connect all these things together, you're going to feel a lot less lost when you're tackling a bigger system, like Fedora or Ubuntu.
So I have 2 more questions before you go further. How low level is going to be? Do we need to know like IPC? Do we need to like go down to like how deep in the file organization and the 0 and 1s?
I think
gonna go. Is it gonna be like very functional and practical use, or is it go down to explaining how processes talk to each other and how?
So I think there is essentially I think I want to build a chain, right? So I want to touch on all the subjects you need to know. Like you need to know that they exist, that the concepts exist. So they can choose to learn what to focus on, right? So my feeling, my my intuition is that I want to teach people, for example, like how does the system boot, right? What is a kernel? What is user space? What is a process? Not in the sense that I'm going to teach you those concepts like a class on operating systems would, right? Because that's too much. But you need to know what they are at least, right? Like what those words mean.
And how they matter to you practically.
Yes, and how, like for example, the idea that a process will make system calls into the kernel. You don't need to know the specifics of what a system call is. You're not going to teach you assembly. I'm not going to teach you, how the list of system calls, right? But at least, if I tell you, well, if a program wants to open a file, it makes a call called open. If it wants to exit, it makes a call called exit, right? Give you that example, you know that's the idea we're going for.
I'm seeing a lot of diagram, like high-level diagrams, and then just like components with like a one core function. It's not something digging into like a piece of code in C and stuff, right? So we're not gonna code at all in this class?
I think we're gonna look at some code. I think, for example, there are some very specific parts of the Linux kernel code that are actually kind of fun because they're actually kind of understandable.
Hondo? Show it to me.
We can simplify them a little bit. I would probably take one and like delete junk, and just gonna give you the important parts. But the Linux kernel does have a sort of main function, and that's actually kind of really useful.
Main function? You're talking about like Python main function? Or?
Yeah, like the Linux kernel has essentially a Linux main function in there. That is literally, which is literally like how does the kernel start? Like what does it do? In what order?
So
how does it bring up the system? And if you actually there's a bunch of junk around it, but if you actually sort of take the code, delete all the nonsense that doesn't really matter, and boil it down to the important stages, I think it actually is very useful to read that code. And even if you don't know C or anything, it's just a list of function calls and stuff, right? So it's more of a task list, right? Like what is the kernel doing? What steps is it following in steps?
So in general, what the code does.
Yeah.
This, reading it like English, you don't really need to know like pointers and stuff.
Oh no, because like the actually I can even pull it up. It's really not that much.
Check.
You know, the next one has the kernel subdirectory. That's where all the fun stuff is.
I'm gonna set a goal in donation.
Where is this thing? I thought it was init, but maybe it's not. Oh, it's under init, sorry. That's where it is. Yeah. So the kernel is actually as a file called init/main.c. And it's like 1,700 lines of code, which is not that much when you think about it. And yeah, look, there's a function called kernel init. Like, look at this.
Yeah?
It's literally like, this is how the kernel starts the first program. And it's just like a bunch of things, mostly of them don't matter. And then it's like how to run the first process.
Oh, okay.
Like in this famous message, right?
Famous message?
This is a famous message.
No working, you need fun. Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's very...
So, like, it's only like a couple of dozen lines of code, and you can delete the boring stuff. And there's some other function here. There's this one, look.
Yeah?
Start kernel.
Start kernel.
This is the list of every step the kernel does to start up.
Oh, it's quite beautiful.
But it's just a list. It's a list of functions.
It's a list of functions.
It's a list of functions.
That's
literally
encapsulated really well.
Yes. So, like, this is actually pretty cool to read.
Doc itself. The code is doc itself. It's very beautiful, actually.
So a lot of these you have no idea what they do, and that's fine, right? But like, you can focus on specific ones, right? Like set up command line.
Are we gonna be able to see that? I don't know how to put it out. That's actual class content.
Yeah,
your instructor
we will go through this during the class, but you see what I'm saying? That this is actually useful, right?
Yeah,
code to read.
But it's just which file is it? I can just
you can
show
look it
them.
up.
Is it like init in?
Go to GitHub, Linux, Torvalds, Linux, whatever.
Git. I have never been there.
Yeah, that.
Okay.
Go to init as a directory.
I thought Linux has its own Git system. That's not GitHub.
They do. This is just a mirror.
This is a mirror. Does it change every day?
Yeah, it's updated automatically.
Init?
Just look at the file. It's right there in the folder list.
Which one?
Init.
Init?
Init.
Up.
Cyan, I think you know how to find the folder.
You need to give clear instructions.
Main.c.
Main.c? Is it Italian man or Japanese man or Danish man?
It's in alphabetical order. I'm sure you can find it.
Main.c?
And then look for start_kernel. Start. Yeah, and search. There you go.
こっちだ. Set task. Oh, it's a lot of calls.
But it's all like, it's literally just a list of steps, right? So obviously a lot of these are very specific things you wouldn't expect anyone who doesn't know anything about Linux to know about. But there are some specific ones that make a lot of sense, right? And give you an idea for what steps it's taking. So I think even just reading through that, which can it can take 5 or 10 minutes, right? It doesn't need to be more.
Very reasonable.
It gives you the idea that like this exists, this code exists, this is what is happening. Hi. If you want to learn more, you can go read the code yourself or Google it or whatever, right?
Hi.
That's kind of the vibe I want to give with this class. Hi. Right? Is like show you how it works. The deeper parts show you that they exist. Show you that there is literally a function in the Linux kernel that you can read that is telling you how it boots the system. And then we move on, right, into what happens after. And so it's up to you to choose what to dig in further into later, right? And then, like, sort of once we get through the entire thing to, like, a desktop or something, we can have more content, right? Like, what do people want us to dig deeper on? And we can have more specialized, like, classes or sessions or videos. But that's kind of my idea.
Right. I put something in there. I don't know if you like it.
But it's not Linux.
That's a great way to start a Linux class, right? A stand-up
I guess
comedian way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get into like the philosophical arguments. But Yeah, maybe.
I feel like we need to do like a prereq speedrun.
What's a prereq speedrun?
Like, just to mention everything we assume you're gonna know.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And if you don't know, here is the pointers. Maybe it can be combined into the first class or something. And I feel like at the end we should teach them how to do VTuber on Linux.
I think that's gonna be like a different video.
like a use case. Like you learn how Linux works. Here's an example. Set up VTuber on Linux. Here is how you do it. Points to all the knowledge we know.
I think. Well, I mean, that could be. I think if we are doing sort of, how a distro works, we could end at like streaming something from Linux, right? Like run OBS and stream something. I think that makes sense. Sort of as a because you need to have a goal, right? Once you get to the desktop, you need to do something, right? And it might as well be like open OBS and stream something. So yeah. I don't know about VTubing though. I don't know if I'm gonna get people into installing Steam and VTube Studio and all that. That's a little too specialized. But maybe the next streaming, like start OBS and do stuff. That makes sense.
Do a series.
Is OBS available on Alpine? I hope it is. Please tell me it is.
Please. At least the older version.
It might not be.
Oh no. You might have to write your own OBS from scratch.
It might not be available on app. Oh, it is. OBS Studio is there. Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's there.
It's on Edge, unsurprisingly. So it's the unstable, but it's there. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yep.
Another question. Would you like to teach some Linux hacking?
What is hacking? How do you define hacking?
Like getting root privilege? I don't know. I feel like you should teach some of that because, like, you know reverse engineering, right?
I think we can. I don't think we want to for the initial course. I don't think we want to get into like
binary
actual. Yeah, I don't think we want to get into that. That's a whole separate topic. But at the very least, when we're gonna talk, at some point we're gonna talk about users, right? And
yeah, I was thinking about that too. Yeah, like user privilege, user groups.
So we could talk about how to like for example, an example set user ID program would be like a backdoor, right?
Yeah.
That would be useful.
I think it's gonna be fun. Yeah. We should like put some info stack into that. Nah?
I mean, there's gonna be a security part to it because you need to understand users and permissions. So I think a very simple sort of don't do this kind of thing would do that.
Let's do this in a VM and see crash.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. Yeah.
Check the chat.
So let's see.
Can your mouse move to that monitor?
Yeah.
Can you go down a bit?
Yeah. Where?
Here. Okay. Because there are new people coming in. I see they look at the Linux thumbnail and they got interested. Hi, we're the right people. Hello. We're gonna teach your son Linux and your daughter and your children. So that's that. That would be really fun.
The external module. I think that would be different. That'd be a different video. Like we can do videos on specific things like that. Like this can all branch out in all kinds of directions.
Stream or video?
Videos or streams. But I think the goal for the initial sort of like what I want to do is cover, from bootloader to starting OBS and streaming something, right? Like what goes underneath the hood, what goes on to get from that point to that point. So like within that range, right, is sort of what do people want to see more or less information about. Because for example, like if you technically talk about like what goes into running OBS, you could start talking about like video drivers, right? You could start talking about OpenGL, you start talking about audio drivers. There's all kinds of things going on, right? So I think we need to at least mention some of those things. But
sorry, what did you say? What are we gonna mention?
Like we're gonna have to mention things like video drivers and audio drivers, right?
Okay.
Like I don't think we're gonna talk about shaders, right? That's like we have to keep how much we focus on every topic shallow to give people the baseline from like nothing to streaming, right? Because we want to actually let people make that connection from A to B. And that means you can't spend too much time on any single thing on that, like in that line. Because if you do that, then you're not spending enough time on everything else, or it's going to be like a million streams or a million videos.
So here's a tough question.
Yeah.
How is your course different than anything that's already being offered in universities and in all the Linux?
Well, I don't know what's being offered because I don't have knowledge of every single thing that's being offered in universities. But
how are we gonna be special?
I think we should be at least looking at some course descriptions and see what people have done so far.
Yeah, I'm looking at this one from CMU. The schools I went to didn't really have a class on Linux. It's always like you can use this thing for that. But they talk about like computer organizations, architecture, but they don't talk about Linux in depth. We should look at those and then see how we can be different. How do we make this engaging? Because two VTubers, anime girls, flat anime girls talking about Linux sounds very untraditional.
I mean, that's part of the fun, right? Like,
yeah, I want to be fun. I want to play dumb a little bit.
I think part of the idea here is that like people who are already into this, who are already taking courses, or already installing Gentoo, whatever, doing their own thing, like those are not our target audience we have, right? Like if you're already learning all this by yourself, then you don't need us, right?
I do feel like I want anecdotes from you, so people that already know this will still come and hear about your stories. Like, I will happily take algorithm again if my professor is you, right?
I mean, there is, like there is a kind of person that is not going to be interested in our content, like ever, right?
Yeah.
And like, we shouldn't worry about that, right?
Yeah, I know.
There's like, I think the idea is that like, I want to make this accessible to people who otherwise would be intimidated by all this kind of content. And I think that's one thing we do very well together.
Yeah.
Because like this stuff can be really scary, right? And I think together we can sort of break it down in a way that it feels a little less intimidating.
Okay. So
for people who are already kind of experienced, it's still like if they have a curiosity to learn more and learn maybe some things they haven't learned about yet, they would still be like interested in this kind of content, right? Because even me, like I watch videos about Linux sometimes. I read like articles about things that I mostly already know sometimes.
Yeah, since you already know. You want to know the little bits that you haven't know yet, and it's fun.
It's like maybe it'll teach you something interesting, or maybe just the way it's presented is interesting, right? So like if you're the kind of person that is curious about like how things are taught, or maybe learning things you don't know yet, then you'd still be interested. If you're the kind of person that is sort of like, knowledge maximizing and sort of like want to get as much depth in some particular subject as possible, as quickly as possible, then maybe not so much.
Yeah, it's like we want this to be entertaining. Educational and entertaining. Oh,
yes.
Sorry, I lost the HTTPS. Trying to put people into our Discord. Hi, we have a Discord.
Yes, we have a Discord.
We check it every day.
And you can give us suggestions there too.
Yeah, we have content suggestions, song suggestions, lyric suggestions. Yes. Go there, please. Is it working? It's working.
So I think one of the things I want to kind of decide today is where to start. Because one big question is, what do we do before Linux? By the time Linux is running, the kernel, we're definitely going to cover that, right? Like kernel, sort of what's a kernel, what it does, how it starts up, what it's in charge of. And then there will be how the system boots. We're going to have to mention possibly initramfs. And then like init system and services, like all that is going to be covered for sure. To some degree, right? I don't know yet how much we want to go into like system firmware, how a computer boots, and bootloaders. Because it's kind of an entire world. Firmware these days is its own OS, basically, right? That's one reason why I wanted to look at old Linux systems, because like sort of the days of BIOS were a lot simpler. And I want people to understand like sort of like what's on the hard drive, right? What are the files? How a system actually boots on a hard drive?
That's a lot of content.
They need to know what a file system is. So I want people to not be lost about that stuff, because it's kind of important. But I don't know how much, how many details we want to have about that. Because, if you start talking about, well, the kernel boots like this, an obvious question is like, what boots the kernel, right? And if you talk about a bootloader, it's like, well, what boots the bootloader? And if you talk about, like UEFI, it's like, well, how does a CPU execute to UEFI, right? And I don't want to leave people completely hanging about that, because it can be very jarring to be like, well, this magically happens, right? And we're not going to tell you anything about it.
I feel like with this kind of course, you're always going to have some magic, especially at the beginning. But it's very important to have people experience the whole process, even with some magic.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It feels like doing like a full install, like easy install at the beginning, see something working, feeling some accomplishment, and then later doing the process again and go into details about what exactly is each part doing.
I mean, we're definitely gonna like show people how to install it, right? But like the, I guess the question is like, at some point you kind of have to draw the line on like we're only gonna teach you this part from the point of view of a user, right? Like we're only gonna teach you system firmware from the point of view of a user, not how it actually works. But I feel like there should be at least a little overview, like high level of like what it's doing.
Yeah, I think our lecture should be driven by slides.
Yeah.
Like concepts, and then like break it down into diagrams.
Yeah.
And then like 20% and less would be demonstration. It's
Yeah.
not just an install stream.
Yeah.
It's explaining, talking, and install is just
Yeah,
the
I think-
homework part.
Yeah. So one thing Super Mario's mentioned, you can use BIOS as an example. One thing we can do, and this might make sense, is if we use a VM, and we should use a VM at least so people know that you can do this easily on any computer. Because like people are a lot more likely to experiment, I feel, if you tell them they can do it inside Windows, inside macOS, inside whatever, versus like you have to get a new computer and do this whole install and deal with the hardware and all that stuff, right? Like if you use a VM, you don't have to worry about hardware compatibility, any of that stuff. It's going to be a lot easier for people to like follow without running into problems.
That brings up like we need to organize the course material. We probably want to publicize those containers. Have easy way of running it, and then publish the slide and everything, making sure they can replicate what happens in the class.
I think there would be like, for example, the part of the class would start with like, we are going to install this in a VM, and here's how you do it, right? Or at least how you bring up a VM, right? Like we can provide a container that's pre-built or something like that. And probably we should have some support material for like how you do this on Windows, how you do this on macOS, how you do this on a different Linux. And we're definitely gonna have the idea of like a VM is magically a like, computer inside a computer. We're not gonna tell you how a VM works, because that's, you have to draw the line there, right? Like, this is a fake real computer. Pretend it's a real computer, right? But I feel like maybe the least confusing way of doing this is to just use BIOS in the VM. If we do an install based on BIOS, then, although this is kind of a trade-off, because if we do an install based on BIOS, we can talk about how the BIOS system boots, which is way easier than UEFI. But on the other hand, if you do UEFI, the actual bootloader stuff can be way simpler, because UEFI does a lot of the work for you. So, I'm not sure which one makes most sense.
We can figure it out later. We don't need to figure out every single thing today. I feel like we can even just like make one class, see how it goes, and do another, and even add things, remove things in the curriculum.
Yeah. I think that this is sort of my inner. I want to know how the, how the bits run inside the CPU self is like. Well, I can easily at least give people a taste of like what code is being executed from where with BIOS, because with BIOS you can literally pull up like a hex dump of a hard disk and tell people like these binary numbers here are what the CPU executes, and like, that's literally true, right? And it feels real, right? With UEFI it's like, well, you put a file here and then magic happens and it runs. So I feel like maybe BIOS is the best way to if we want to go as deep as like the CPU is going to execute these instructions from the beginning, like this is the binary code. We're not going to assembly, we're just going to like, this is the binary code that is instructions for the CPU. If you start there and you want to show the numbers, like the literal numbers the CPU is executing, then BIOS makes sense. If we're okay with like this file is going to magically be run, then you could do it with UEFI. I feel like that's kind of where we are.
Do you mind if I take a bathroom break? Real quick? Take over the notes, baby.
Ah, wait, what?
Notes.
You need
notes. Anything? Need water?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah, the 5 a.m. mark. Because we definitely have to cover like partitions, right? We have to cover partitions. We have to cover, that's another question, is to use GPT or MBR. But then if you use GPT, you have to use the BIOS boot partition, which is kind of its own mess. So maybe it should be MBR. Yeah, I think that might be the best balance between like retro and modern. Is it's like, well, we're gonna use MBR and like a retro BIOS system, and then like once you learn the OS, you can just accept that like UEFI is kind of like its own OS, and then your kernel is kind of like a program. That might make more sense. Because I do want to talk about like what a file system is and what the idea of a file system is, and like how under the hood it's like blocks of data on a disk. So I think from that point of view, it probably makes sense to use a VM with BIOS. Botbox, that's actually what I used to run Mandrake, and the problem is that it's kind of really, really retro and kind of sucks a little bit. So, but if we're doing this, I think QEMU is definitely the way to go. There's things you can use like, what's the one on macOS? I forgot, but there's the thing, like a very popular VM app on macOS. And there's definitely things you can use on Windows that are similar. So I think we'll probably just have like, maybe something like have some support material where we like have a website where we tell people, okay, or maybe even videos, right? Where we tell people, okay, like pick your OS, set this up before starting to watch the stream or the video, and then you can follow along. I think that would make sense. So let's see. I take some notes for this. So we need to have like a before video for main course. Prerequisite setup. I think something like that makes sense. Okay. yeah, UTM. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. UTM works very well on macOS. I've used it. On Linux, you can just use like Vert, or even just call QEMU from the command line, or we could give people like a script they can run. On Windows, I'm sure there's something. There's got to be like a QEMU for Windows thing that someone's built. QEMU Windows frontend. I mean, this VirtualBox, I guess, which isn't bad. It's a little... I would rather have it be consistent, so ideally it would be just QEMU everywhere. I just wonder if there's something like UTM for Windows. Would be nice. Oh, actually, I was just thinking, we could even do this in a web browser, because there's, web, like, WASM magic you could do. The only annoying thing is that if you have a web browser, it's kind of like, virtual disks and things like that are kind of a problem. Oh, there's like a front end for QEMU that has binaries for Windows on SourceForge. Okay, those are ancient. But the Git repo is actually up to date. No, it's not. Wait, where is this? Oh, there's like a fork. Does this have releases? Ah, there's a portable for Windows. Okay. This might work. We'll see. We'll have to look some of this stuff up. HTML with system actually, I don't think we're gonna go into that. That would be a little too much info. I think if we start talking about like hardware discovery and all that, that would be like branching out a little too much. Like we're not gonna talk about like any specifics about how drivers work, just sort of like the idea that drivers exist, that hardware exists, that like the kernel does stuff to figure out what hardware is connected and how it works. But I think like technically you don't need a CPI or device tree, right? To boot a PC with Linux, you can technically boot without a CPI support at all, and it also works. So I think that's something that we can just skip. Because it's not required, right? The idea is that we're going to talk about everything that's required to go from A to B. And a CPI is not actually required. I mean, in practice it kind of is, but it isn't really required to understand, right? Like how a system boots. So I think we can skip that. Yeah, QTEMU is the one I found. That might work. And yes, we're not going to talk about like how multiprocessor systems work and stuff like that. Like even, and then the emulated system might have one CPU or more than one CPU, but we're not going to talk about, at least initially, about like CPU synchronization or things like that.
Oh my!
Like if you want to have more than one CPU, you just kind of accept that like the kernel is in charge of making things run on more than one CPU, and I think the details of that would be for different casts.
Anything interesting happen?
No, I was just talking about like that we probably want to have like before the main video like a prerequisite setup thing, so that people with Windows, with Linux, with Mac can like set up the VM so they can follow along later. And we would release that first, right?
Can we do that with cloud containers? Do you hate them?
But I mean, I think the idea is running it locally, kind of see how it works.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that makes more sense.
Okay. I just don't want to go to 3 different kinds of machines and configure all of them.
I mean, I think it's important for people to like see how this actually works, right?
Okay.
So, but I did mention that one thing is that we might be able to do it in a browser. There's like browser-based builds of that, but it's also kind of annoying because you can't like keep files and stuff so easily. So I think we can just make, like, here's how you do it on Windows, here's how you do it on Mac, here's how you do it on
I'm
Linux.
pretty sure when my school taught me cybersecurity, they were using AWS.
Yeah, but that's because you don't learn how Linux boots on AWS, right? So... Oh no, we're not gonna talk about compilers. We're gonna talk about like how a compiled system works, not how to compile your own. That's a different thing, right? I mean, we might bring it up at some point to explain how to like make a new app, but we're not gonna like explain how a compiler works.
What is CMake again? Is that a thing that runs C programs?
No, CMake is a build system that is kind of infamously... I don't know if I would say complicated or just weird.
I feel like I used it at school before.
I've used it. OBS uses CMake. Does it? What should we talk about?
You want to start making some slides?
I think I need to use the bathroom too. How about...
Oh, you need to... Okay.
How about you entertain people when I do that?
I'll take over.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of like quote-unquote marketing value for this class.
Yeah.
Right? We can just like talk to some professors at some university. Like, do you want your children to watch our class or something? Because it's pretty cool. I'm gonna steal her stuff on the table. Oh, hi. We have a really long table. I really feel like we can message some professors and see if, or just schools and see if they wanna collaborate on this. Promote it a little bit. We don't even know which channel to put this on yet. I was thinking to put on her channel so that her channel can hit 100k sooner. Would you go to her channel and watch us teach? And I need to make sure I am PG-13, cause like, I don't know why college is PG-13 though. But I need to make sure I'm Cecil in the streams. It's supposed to be a college level lecture, right? Maybe they'll provide some ideas on how to design a course. Yeah, like if we have the first stream, they might help us design a course or something. Wait, we can invite actual lecturers in the industry. Do you guys know any professor that likes anime girls? Please, can I invite them? Maybe we can invite like college professors, PhDs to do talks. The multiple channels thing doesn't work for live streams. I think it doesn't work. It doesn't work when it's live, and it also doesn't work after it's live. It has to be a video collaboration, I think. We're trying to put all the Cecil coding stuff on her channel and all the Yuli stuff on my channel. And since our fanbase are not that like overlapped, I feel like preparing the course in my channel is gonna be more secretive. Man, I'm worried if I can follow it. I'm afraid I'll fall asleep. Remember the hacking stream we did like 2-3 years ago? I almost fall asleep. It needs to be interactive somehow. And it cannot be 3 hours. If it's 3 hours, we need to like cut it down or something. This has to be like at the very most 1 hour and a half. True fans subscribe both. Yes! Yes, I do appear on her channel as a water delivery woman. Do I remember how to be on Cecil? I don't really know. And we're gonna use this chibi model because there's more contrast, I guess. I guess. I don't know what to put on there yet. Even if I'm not gonna teach, I think I'll be the person making the slides. Do you guys know any good, like, educational animation tools? Like, make, like, algorithm animations or, like, graphs and stuff? I want it to be as modern and as interactive as this could be. Oh, I also want to use Kahoot for, like, a quiz. And people can keep scores and stuff. I think it's gonna be fun. Good morning, everybody. Yes, please subscribe to both channels. Please, I think the title has Lina's YouTube handle, so you can just click on it and subscribe to her. Hopefully it has... Where's my title? I've been trying to make myself use Linux. We have a M3 at home, so you can't run Linux yet. Otherwise, I will be streaming on Linux too. Kahoot is killing you. Why? Last time when we had a Kahoot, it was really fun. There were like 300 people. I had to buy a subscription and I only canceled it 3 months later. Welcome back. I was saying each class should at most be 1 hour and 30 minutes. And I feel like the class itself should be 1 hour and 30 minutes is gonna be like us chatting, answering questions.
I think that makes sense. Yeah. I think that makes sense.
I think asking people to stay there for 3 hours, that's
I think
not
that makes
reasonable.
Sense. I think that makes sense.
So we really need to think about what to teach and rehearse a little bit.
Yeah. I think, for example, like the first class should be something like how the computer boots and like you know, start the setup and like, for example, talk about like what a hard drive is, what a disk sector is, how is the system starting to boot from a disk, and like how a bootloader works, right? And then the next class could be like kernel, like what a kernel does, you know, stuff like that. I think about that level is probably like the amount of stuff you can fit in 1 hour is about that much.
Yeah, and if you go really high level, like to a level where like anyone from high school can understand, I think it's doable. Like we don't need to go into the complicated details.
Yeah. And part of the goal is to sort of make the complicated, like I think the word is demystify, right?
Demystify.
Yeah, like I want people to not see things as black boxes, but as things that can be understood. So, you know, like how does, if we're talking about the bio stuff, it's like how does the computer start, right? And like we can give them a pre-made VM with Alpine, and like we can literally say, okay, now this file is the virtual hard drive, and you can open it up in a hex editor, and these are the numbers in the file, and the CPU is literally going to start at the very beginning and start running those numbers. Like that's literally what happens. And like you don't have to understand those numbers, but you can see them, right? You can see like this is a thing that is going on. It's not a giant magic black box. I think that's what I find valuable, you know, is like this is not magic. You can understand it or you can not understand it. You can learn the details or not learn the details, but it's not magic, right? Like it's just, you can see it. You can kind of touch it, right? I think that's what we want to show people.
So this. I was saying, like, you think it's possible we talk to some university professors and then, like, I feel like, well, if we are able to finish this class, we probably will do more educational content like this, right? And we send it to them and then be like, we can ask them to come here for talks or, like, you know, just like PhDs or like people doing research in our community, like doing talks and we just like listen and interact. I feel like this could be really cool.
I think so, yeah.
So everybody that's watching, one day we might invite you.
I also feel like this is going to be like a series of streams at first.
Yeah.
And then we're probably going to redo it as like actual produced video content in the future at some point.
そうですね。Am I gonna act like I never understood it anyway? For me to exist?
I mean, I think
Is my role in this class like producer, but also actor?
Well, not actor. I mean, the thing is like I think when we do the streams, you're actually going to be learning a lot, right? And then when we do produce video content, that's when we write a script anyway. So, right?
Okay.
So, that's how it works, right? Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
And we have to stay PG-13?
I mean, hopefully, yeah.
Oh god, we can't talk about like boob or anything like that. Probably not. Those words has to be spelled out or something. No. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know about the streams, but for the videos, probably.
Oh.
Maria's so mean. Maria's so mean.
Come on, I've been using Linux for like 5-7 years. I know at least something. So funny. Let me teach you cloud one day. Nah. Also, when can they start enrolling?
Start what?
I'm just kidding. But like, when are we going to do this? My plan today is actually get the first class PowerPoint down.
Oh, you want to do it like live?
Semi-live, because we both know we are good at doing work alive.
So what are we talking about there? Are you going to do like the whole BIOS thing? Like how the computer starts?
Okay, the first class, wouldn't it be like introduction to a class, introducing the speakers, and then...
Sure, but I mean, that's meta, right?
Yes. The first class is going to be meta. And talk a little bit about BIOS.
Okay, isn't that what we just did right now? Like...
Huh?
Like we just talked about like ourselves and the...
Yeah, but this is not official. This is a course. This is a TA moment. The things are gonna happen in your channel, right?
Or the other channel.
Or I have a even better idea.
What?
To bring our viewers together. It's gonna start at your channel. The prerequisite is gonna be done in my channel. People that don't have the prerequisite come here and say, "Mama, teach you."
Just split it all up.
And then the main one class in the other channel, and then jump back to your channel. So
we just like redirect people around.
We redirect people until they all subscribe to us, and then all...
No, I think that makes at least a little bit of sense, though. I think we can run the sort of kickstart stream started on my channel, and then do the redirect trick and send them over to Tokyo Hacker Girls, and then actually have the class officially start there.
The kick up,
like the kickstart thing on my channel,
1 hour 30 minutes.
No, like 15-20 minutes of like, this is what we're doing, and just kind of like hyping it up a little bit, and then redirect to Tokyo Hacker Girls and move, and that's like when the actual class starts.
Okay. that sounds familiar. Sounds like something we've done before, but
is it?
Is it? I don't know. We'll be able to decide. I just want to know like how long is the span of the class? Is it gonna be a whole year, 3 months,
Oh no,
2 weeks?
it's not gonna be a whole year, but I mean, it depends on how often we do this. We actually need to sit down and like
have a schedule,
kind of plan the...
We kind of need to be a little more responsible and give them the dates of the lectures, right?
So this is it.
Is it going to be any time that I will be talking about I'll be leading any lecture? Not likely.
That's up to you.
After me.
Come on,
I'll think about it. I mean, I kind of push for this to happen so I can sit and relax and just listen to you. It does sound like we probably want a schedule so people can attend live, right? Unless we're doing multiple lives. And you have plans very soon. Do you want to get this down, the whole curriculum down, before you have commitments?
Commitment?
I don't mind speedrunning, doing all the slides today, tomorrow.
For what? For the entire course?
For the entire course, yeah.
No, it's definitely not doing that. Because a lot of it is like I expect some of it will adapt based on like we'll make changes on the fly to some parts.
Deadline where I just want to make very sure this is gonna happen. So let's make it happen soon. If you wanna go the relaxed route, we can just like do one and then decide the next one later, and it's up to them for attending or not. How much we're gonna market this? Do you care if people come? We're gonna try our best to tell people this is happening, or we just try to deliver the content first and see reactions and then.
I think we are not
promote the videos.
We want to at least hype up the first one a little bit because it's gonna be kind of special.
So
like especially if we start with the bootloader stuff, I think that's pretty rare and it's gonna get some people interested if we can do it well. So I think we definitely want to hype that up a little bit. And let's see.
Gustav, welcome to the Fish Touch. Arigato. Welcome to the community. Check out if there's any gifts in the membership session.
I think if you want to be a little relaxed, I feel like the first video should be like the first stream should be in like a couple weeks.
The first stream will be in a couple weeks,
or like at the earliest a week, to give us some time to like prep.
When we say prep, are we prepping all this content or just prep one by one?
I think it's one by one, but we want to at least want to make an outline of what the content we're gonna cover is, like stream by stream, roughly, and then we should do some like run-throughs so we know roughly what amount of time it's gonna take for each part.
So there's not.
I mean, I think it's okay if, for example, like one time is like 2 hours instead of 1 hour because we miscalculated, but you don't want it to be like totally off, right? So, yeah, something like that. So should we start maybe writing like an actual like outline?
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
Outline for the class?
Yeah, and like roughly split into chapters, right? Into like streams.
Okay. I can just add it on my slide,
Sure, but it's gonna be long, so it's not gonna fit in one slide.
Okay. Outline for everything.
And yeah, we need to figure out the like there's gonna be some kind of intro material, right? Like some background info for people, like why would you want to learn this, things like that. Let me just put a big list here. Big old list. Do we want to cover how a computer works very quickly?
Yeah.
Like CPU, RAM, hard disk.
Yeah.
Screen, GPU. Just sort of like diagram.
Yeah.
Okay. So just like how a computer works TLDR. Okay. Set up. So I have like, do you want to share the doc by the way, or how do you want to do this? Maybe it's better if you put it here.
No, I'm just gonna put it in random places.
Okay.
And... Is it gonna fit?
Did I just type it out? Or what?
Yeah, like this could already be a slide, and then if I just like put some image on it. Nah.
So intro content, how computer works TLDR is what I have so far. What is a VM environment setup, first boot, how a hard drive works, block storage, hard disk or SSD, and then actually, we should start before that. So, So BIOS, ROM firmware, TLDR. Yeah, so we start with like the CPU running the BIOS, TLDR on that. Then how hard disk works, so it has to start reading from a hard disk. Then MBR, and we're gonna use grub because that's the reasonable thing to do for BIOS boot.
Aww.
And then we have to talk about file systems, partitions, and file systems. We have to talk about the kernel and the RAM disk, HRAMFS. At least mention what those are in terms of the bootloader. So what is a bootloader? MBR, grabbing it, partitions and file systems. So we're not going to go into the. Let's say grub bootstrap just to like explain how it loads from disk, but not. We're not going to go into any of the grub code. Partitions and file systems, kernel and RAM disk. How's it to learn about Misadu? Yeah, I think at some point we will, like when we get into, we go past the bare system and start talking about like graphical environments. There has to be at least a little TLDR and like sort of what the pieces of the stack of a modern Linux graphical system is. So there would be some Mesa. There used to be some diagrams about that somewhere. I think there's going to be a lot of block diagrams actually in this. Right? Because people need to know what the layers are, what the parts are, even if we don't go into the details.
It'd be nice if we make it interactive, like on a website.
It's a lot of work.
If they ask me to code, maybe not. Honestly, just watching the things you type, I already feel like I'm gonna have trouble sleeping tonight.
Trouble sleeping tonight? Why?
I don't know. Maybe those terms I'm familiar with, but enough to give me some PTSD.
PTSD? Why?
I don't know.
You don't know what?
Please make this as friendly and safe for me as possible.
I mean, that's the whole point of this series, right? That's the whole point of this series.
Oh, really? 本当?
Well, yeah.
本当? 安心じゃないね.
I mean, I'm running a bullet list for us to reference when...
Is your outline for like class number 1? Is this for class number 1? 0?
I think the point here is that we're not starting at the high level like 100. We're starting from the beginning, right? So I want to connect from intro, like from how computer works to OBS. That means we have to go through
everything you just wrote, every single title is 5 students' PhD paper added up.
No, it's
right?
not.
You sure?
It's not. Trust me.
なんかこれを見せた時頭はふわふわしてる。Linux kernel stuff, but what kind of image am I gonna use for that? Linux kernel. We should use anime stuff. Linux kernel startup. Oh my god. They look absolutely scary. My god. I'm gonna put them into different CSS, just so there's a whole book about it.
Of course there would be.
Kernel boot process. I told you it's 5 PhD's paper adds up.
That's okay. We're not going into that level of detail.
Paging.
That's not actually what we're talking about.
It is not.
No.
We have a Wikipedia booting process of Linux. Guess how many?
Okay. Here's the thing. The reason we are doing this class is that if you Google any of this, you're not gonna get the TLDRs that you need to know what's going on without being overwhelmed. You're overwhelmed right now because no one has done this properly before. That's what we're trying to fix. This is literally why we're doing this.
Okay, so the first class is TLDR and throw the terms. Be like, this is a bird. That is a stone. That is a tissue, and that is a carrot. 真棒. Lord forgives me. Linux on fire. I need beautiful UIs. This is just sad. This is just pure sadness. What's going on? Now this looks much more like a college slide, even if I put anime girls on it. It doesn't look fun anymore.
Actually, I just had an idea.
You have what idea?
Instead of starting with init, we're going to start with init sh. Makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. I'm gonna get my slide back. I'm gonna make a copy of it and then go back because I don't wanna lose the design. Yeah, and I think there is no go back. I can't think of a better representation of this.
Actually, we're gonna start with something even dumber.
That's something even dumber.
I mean, no one has ever done this. See, I have good ideas.
Okay, what's your
when we start explaining what a Linux system does and how it works, we're gonna after the sort of demo, this is how you boot into Alpine. We're gonna go and boot a system with init equals bin cat.
Eh? Nande?
Because it's the simplest possible program that does something recognizable and interactive.
そうですね.
Ne?
Ne?
It doesn't make for a very useful computer, but it's a teaching tool that I bet no one has ever thought of before.
So you're gonna call it Neko? Actually, I never know what cat stands for.
It stands for concatenate.
Yeah, concatenate, but why cat a file shows you the content
Because
of the file?
if you cat multiple files, it puts them one next to each other, concatenates them.
But if you cat one...
It's just a simple case of doing multiple.
Ah.
We can joke about the name cat too, which is cool, right? So.
Yeah.
What happens when cat returns? You get a kernel panic. And that's where we explain why this is not very useful.
Oh. You can just put that in.
Ooh,
You have a template.
cute.
Okay, so for how computer works, what kind of diagram are you looking for?
Just the usual, CPU, memory, hard disk, network, GPU. I probably would rather make some of these diagrams, right, than just Google stuff.
Yeah, I think so too. Oh god. Why are all the computer science diagrams so ugly?
I'm telling you, this is why we're making this class.
Am I the one that's in charge of aesthetics? I don't have a degree
I think we
in
can build it together.
2D animation or whatever. Maybe I should go back to your like JavaScript slides so you can actually.
I'm telling you. Well, I mean, the diagrams in those are just made with Inkscape, right? So.
This is making me. This is so crazy. If I put it on here, it's not even making anyone mad.
That's so ancient.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, it reminds me of the Pac-Man. Like dun da 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 da. This is Asian too. It looks like a JavaScript, like a Java image thing. Where can I find cute educational?
You know what? I'm gonna teach about S-trace right after shells. We want people to touch things. S-trace is how you touch things on Linux. Like how you see how they work. I'm telling you, this is gonna be very unconventional by the standards of like how you teach this in universities, and that's kind of the point.
I know.
That's kind of the point.
I'm just contemplating my life choices. Oh, you're so right. I should look at a CS book.
Yeah,
They have
maybe.
good diagrams. They do.
You know we're not supposed to like steal things for copyright reasons.
So this man. Those
Like any images we use are supposed to be licensed with open licenses and credited.
you want me to draw? I have a drawing pad here.
Maybe we should just draw everything, yeah.
Atashi?
If you want to. That'd be really cute. You could draw our diagrams.
Atashi?
Yeah.
Drawing. How computer works? Children books of how computer. Yes, we got gifted of a book that teach logic gates to babies. 다이저브? Are you waiting for me?
I'm just thinking about the list.
Dun 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 dun. This is a GPU. Maybe I should just take a picture of my computer, my desktop. This is a science machine. It has a Miku in it. I wonder if my Miku is melting.
I wonder how much we want to go into networking. Because that's like a whole different thing.
Yeah, you can have a networking series.
Yeah.
Okay, just tell them what happens if you type google.com. That's
no, we're not gonna go into that's a whole different branch. But like, do we want to? I guess it depends on how the VM is set up. But like, do we want to talk about IP addresses or just kind of skip over all that?
I can talk about like the terms and what it means, IP address.
I think we just have a very quick TLDR.
I think people that knows us and want to take our class knows what IP address is.
Yeah, so because like at some point, like I'm at the like, you know, you boot the system and it has nothing in it, right? So the first thing you want is a network so you can actually install packages. You probably want to set up the network manually first. And since it's a VM, we can actually do that. I
so just want to take somebody else's slide. But my slide is already top notch. Don't you think? And my slide says, look. I don't know what to put on this.
Excellent. I also don't know what network setup we want to use for Alpine. It might make sense to just do it like manually first as a... Like literally have people write their own init script for the network setup as an example of what makes sense as like a init script. That might make sense actually. Yeah, because it's very easy. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah. Like you set up the network manually in the command line, and then you're like, you want it to be set up every time you boot, so you turn it into an init script.
Okay,
and then that's an example init script that is useful, and it's like so 2 lines, right? So that makes sense.
I saw reading about Linux, and then it's like everything that I'm scared about: security, IP address, DNS, what's BIOS, kernel, booting.
And by the way, this is all running as root right now. We have to talk about users later.
That's the easiest part to understand for a user. How is your brainstorming going? Is this outline for our first class?
No, this is everything. I'm just writing a list of everything, and
this is everything.
This is everything.
I saw this gonna be
No. This is everything. I'm just writing. We have to split it up into classes later. This is everything.
This is scary. I need to partition
this is like at least
file system, open RC.
This is at least 3 classes so far.
Yokata! So that I'm gonna be so cooked.
No. Okay, no, LFS doesn't make sense. Like LFS is kind of cool, but LFS is like, there's no reason to compile everything from scratch.
Linux from scratch?
Yeah, like you do not learn Linux from scratch by doing Linux from scratch.
Oh, I
Linux
did.
Did you learn?
Enough so I can use a Linux now.
Yes, but not this, right?
It was just like around 40 hours of my time.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense. The reason, we talked about this earlier, like the reason why I'm almost definitely going to do this with Alpine Linux is that Alpine is the closest thing to LFS without like compiling everything yourself, which doesn't make any sense. I want to see these classes in colleges. Yes, I think we're definitely gonna do that. Like once the and it's not gonna be one stream; it's gonna be many streams. Once we and thank you for super chat.
Thank you for super chat.
It's gonna like I feel like there's an approach here that sort of hasn't been done before, right? I feel like colleges tend to either focus on really retro stuff, or they like dig too deep into individual topics because colleges are structured to have classes that go very deep on specific subjects, right? And then, especially in computer science, you kind of lose the overall picture. And it doesn't. It's hard to connect everything.
You know what's gonna happen?
What?
Some days when I finish this series, some professor is going to make the homework as watching our streams. Instead of teaching it themselves, it's gonna become their homework. Learning starts from when the LFS compiler fails and you have to learn to fix whatever comes along. Oh my god. I remember the time when I deleted my LFS when I was 20 hours in. It was absolutely fun. I was tricked into doing my LM. Watching Cyan and Lina's homework. I don't want to become people's homework. I think they're gonna hate us.
No, they're gonna be like, this is the future. Let's see.
I hope any of you speak a second language that's other than English. I hope someone will step forward and translate those whole class. And please work with us because we do need a clipper. If not 1, 2, or 5. I stopped finding clippers because I think I can fish some clippers through this. So if you're interested in translating these classes, please feel free to do so and try to work for me. We should have college teaching by VTubers. You know what? That should be it. Because professors don't really want to teach a lot of them. We should come and teach those kids. I can teach them Python. Thank you for subscribing, arigato.
What should the first package that we install be? That doesn't come with the system.
First package.
Text editor?
Vim!
Can we not use Vim to teach people
Please,
from scratch?
I love Vim. I cannot move without Vim. What's the other one that Arch made me use?
Nano?
I could give up.
I think we... Does Alpine come with... I actually don't know what Alpine comes with in the, like, base install, but... If it doesn't come with Nano, it should.
Why don't people learn Vim?
Because I've only used an Alpine with, like, bare bones containers. There's a virtual Alpine, which is nice.
You play videos on classes? What kind of videos? Like learning videos? You know, the first thing they made us do when I first go to college?
Yeah?
As an engineering student?
What?
They put us through a whole year of Lego making. The Lego robots.
Like, oh, those things!
Oh my god! We have to, like, classify the color of, like, marbles. Through, like, sensors and stuff. And they asked us to do like lab view. And only one kid in our class know how to do this through Python. I wasn't lucky enough to start comp sci with Python. We had to learn C++. But the first thing we learned was MATLAB. Yeah.
Oh no, not MATLAB.
Videos about email pinch and the HTTP certificates. That's actually a good video because I think people still get pinched. Does it happen in Japan too that they will send you bad like emails and if you click on it you have to take like 3-hour course on cybersecurity?
I have no idea.
Yes. Yes.
I don't even know how you do like QEMU for ARM64 that actually boots on or anything. Because I'm testing this on ARM64 to see what it does, but Can I get you a fire or something?
Huh? BIOS とは Basic Input Output System の略で、パソコンの電源投入後、OS が起動する。何前に CPU、メモリー、ストレージなどのハードはハードウェア初期設定治癒する気分的なプログラムです。What do you think about teaching it in 2 languages?
What?
It's also like it's more fun. Like anime girls teaching this kind of thing in half Japanese.
I think that would be a little too.
I don't know if I mentioned I registered with a very famous Asian educational group. They discovered that I already registered with them 2 years ago to learn Japanese, and my progress so far from N5 to N1 has been 0%. So they enrolled me in this program to get N2. And I said, what if N5 is too boring for me? And they said, okay, try to learn it in 10 days. I'll remind you every day. And today, he sent me the he sent you a scary message. He said, did you watch the N5 class video yesterday? Take a look at the application screen, and it says it's still at 0%. I said, I watched this afternoon. 絶対に He said, 拉钩. I said, 何? 上什么来着? 上課. And then Pinky promise successful. And then 1 hour ago, he said, don't forget to go to class. And then 20 minutes ago, he said, send your coordinations. If you are not going to class, I am going to send missiles. Lena,
What?
my teacher threatened to send me missiles.
Missiles? What?
見て
I'm scared now. What?
Read it.
I'm scared. What? Why is your teacher threatening you?
Welcome to Chinese education. I'm still learning Spanish. I was. I want to prioritize Japanese first, and if I make it through Japanese, I'm gonna do Spanish. The only word I remember is papelera. Why do I remember that? I don't know.
I just booted an Alpine like ISO, and I'm like, where's my DHCP client?
What is that? I think that means paper trash can. Papelera? Papel is paper. I don't know if Lara is trash can or not. It just happens to be on the lesson 1 of B2 or A2 Spanish. What's orale? Okay. Is that ole? Sounds good. Oh, it's come on. Okay. How do I respond to come on?
Oh, it's UDT, isn't it?
The 5 Spanish I know.
Hey, it does work.
I know fish is pass. And hello is hola. Thank you is gracias. Mucho gracias. So this. What are you looking at?
I was just checking what an actual Alpine boot CD looks like because I've never actually used the CDs. I've only used the containers. But look, mite.
Okay.
Like, you boot an Alpine, and this is all the kernel stuff. You can ignore that.
Okay.
If you start here, this is everything that's running. Until you boot the system. It's really simple. So that's why I think this makes sense. To start with.
I agree.
The first package is, I think it comes with a DHCP client. Unless we want to start removing things to like annoy people. I think we want to do that. Does it come with Nano? It doesn't come with Nano. Does it come with VI? Oh, yes, it does come with VI. Okay. You got lucky.
I love you. I'm a lucky Vim user.
But I'm a little annoyed because if I'm teaching newbies, I don't want to teach people how to use VI from the get-go.
Just teach them how to quit.
Well, actually, if we are doing this, no, here's what we're gonna do. The first package is gonna be Nano because we're gonna teach. The only file you have to edit to get here is resolve conf, and you can do that with Echo with a single line.
Okay.
And then we like APK update. Oh, actually, it needs a repository. It looks like. Not sure how that works.
Ole, 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 ole. None of this makes sense.
Yeah, I think they did it like that. Okay, so going back to the doc. Because I can be a little more specific. Where's my doc? So we're actually gonna jump from network. We're gonna talk about the package manager first.
Package manager.
Okay, so you got that. What else should we talk about after that? What's going on?
How GPU works.
I mean, cool, but what's going on here?
I got the HTML code. We can edit it.
Yeah, this is all very overkill for what we're trying to do.
Come on.
You're not gonna do this for every single slide. There's no way.
I asked Gemini.
Okay, of course you did.
So this is very doable, actually.
It also doesn't really make sense because that's not how RAM, CPU, and GPU works.
I know it is not, but I have the source code. I can make changes to it. By the way, this CSS looks very Google.
Hi.
Come in there. I'll figure this out. I'm hungry. I'll go convenience and get some food, and then. Are you in work mode?
No, I'm just trying. I mean, kind of, but not really. What else? Okay, so once we have a network, what should we do with the system? What do you think is a good next step? We've already talked about users, right?
Yeah.
Because we only have root so far.
Yeah.
Another thing is that if we look at the files in Alpine, it's probably pretty small. Yeah, look. This is like all the files in the system, and I already installed some stuff. We can actually go through the entire list of every single file on the system. And like, you can't redo that with like Fedora or Ubuntu or anything like that, you know? Like everything here makes some sense. Like we can say, okay, this RC stuff, we're gonna talk about that later. Right? This is the like, something about init systems we're gonna talk about later, right? And then. Actually, no, because we already talked about, we don't have init systems in the list. How about we talk about that first? And then after, after talking about OpenRC, it's a good time to do the file system tour. Because then you know what everything works. So then you have like libraries and then all the commands. And you wouldn't have the APK keys yet for some stuff, so you can just ignore that. Yeah, I think this is pretty doable. And it's gonna like it's pretty cool that you can do this and see like every single file, and it's not crazy, and you don't really have to skip around too much. I think we can do that.
Can I have some food? I'm burning too much sugar in my brain.
What are we doing? Are we ending the stream? Do you want to get lunch? Or...
Yeah, I was planning to stream 1 hour and a half.
How much have you done so far?
2 hours.
In tonight?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We can keep doing it. Please send us more recommendations.
Yeah, send us ideas. Join our Discord.
Discord.
Go Cyan.it/Discord. It's pinned. And give us ideas for the class. Like, what do you want to see covered?
Arigato, shinkatacha. Oi, gonna get some food. I want konbini. I don't want konbini, but our budget can only afford konbini, right? Maybe Chinese too. Izakaya. I want strawberries. Strawberry season competition in the konbini. Everything is strawberry. Alright. I'll grab some strawberries. See you tomorrow because Lina is streaming tomorrow, right? Yeah! See you tomorrow. Bye-bye!
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye! Bye-bye!
Spread the world.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.